Now that you have the package installed, let's talk about list views, where to find them, how they work, and what this course is focused on. In any system that manages a lot of records, being able to find the right information quickly is key. And that's where list views come in. They help users navigate large amounts of data, filter out unnecessary details, and surface only what's relevant to a user's role or workflow. For example, a scheduler might need to see only high priority jobs, while a manager might want a summary of all work queued for next week. Instead of searching through records one by one, list views allow users to organize, filter, and interact with data in a structured and efficient way. Now, before we dive deeper, let's talk about how list views are structured. In Skedulo, every list view is bound to a structured set of data known as an object, which you could also think about as a database table. An object is essentially a collection of records, generally of a similar type, like accounts, jobs, or invoices. Each list view is connected to a specific object and displays records only from that object. It also determines what fields are available for filtering, sorting, and presentation. List views aren't just for standard objects though, they also support custom objects and custom fields. So if you've created a custom object or added a custom field to jobs, you can use list views to display those as well. Understanding this relationship is important because when you configure a list view, you're really choosing how to display, filter, and interact with the data for a specific object or a specific set of structured data. Skedulo has a flexible list view framework that allows you to display, organize, and interact with records. This course is all about working with Skedulo's latest version of list views. Depending on your environment setup, these may not automatically appear in the navigation. If not, you'll need to configure your navigation menu to point to the list view for each object you want to expose. We'll take you through exactly how to expose list views in this course. The process is the same for every object in Skedulo, so once you know how to do it for one object, you'll be able to do it for any object in the system. Now that we understand what list views are and how they're connected to objects, let's go ahead and enable them for both a standard and custom object. Before we get started, it's important to note that updating the navigation menu requires administrator permissions, so do make sure you're logged in as an admin. First, let's update the accounts list view so that it appears in the navigation menu. To do this, we'll go into Settings, select Navigation menu, and locate the existing accounts menu item. Right now, this menu item points to the default accounts page, but we want to update it to use the latest version of list views. To make that change, we need to adjust the menu item by selecting Platform Page as the page type, since all list views are considered platform pages. Then we choose the accounts list as the platform page, select the user roles, and save our changes. Now, if we go back and update the accounts list, you'll notice that instead of the old layout, we're using the list view framework to display the account records. This means we can take advantage of all the customization options that come with list views, like filtering, sorting, and column customization. Next, let's enable a list view for a custom object, called Equipment Maintenance History. The process is similar, but since this object doesn't have a menu item yet, we'll need to create one from scratch. Just like before, we'll go into Settings, select Navigation menu, but this time instead of modifying an existing item, we'll click Add Menu Item. We'll name it Equipment Maintenance, and just like with accounts, we'll set the page type to Platform Page. From there, we select the Equipment Maintenance History list as the platform page, assign the appropriate user roles, and save the changes. Now, when we navigate to Equipment Maintenance from the menu, we'll see the new list view in action. However, there's one key difference. You'll probably notice that right now it looks pretty bare. That's because whilst the package we installed at the beginning of this course included all the objects and its fields, it didn't include any column configurations. This is intentional because later in this course we'll be building out the columns step by step, exploring the different ways we can format and present data to make it more useful for users. And this really highlights an important point. A list view is only as valuable as the information it presents. Right now, this table isn't very helpful to a user, it's just a blank layout with minimal data. But by the end of this course, the same list view will be fully configured to provide clear, structured, and actionable information. To give you a preview of where we're heading, here's what the final version of this list view will look like once we've applied filtering, sorting, and column customizations. This is what we'll build together step by step, so that by the end of this course, you'll be able to confidently configure list views for any object in Skedulo. Now that we've got list views enabled in the navigation, they're accessible to users. But right now, they're just a way to display records. To get the most out of them, we need to know how to interact with list views effectively, how to sort records, apply filters, and customize the display to highlight the most relevant information. In the next section, we'll explore how end users can work with list views to quickly find and organize data, making them more useful in day-to-day workflows. See you there.